Welcome, fam, to another episode of HomeKit Insider. You've got me, Andrew O'Hara, here with my co-host with the So-Soist. It's Stephen Robles, the man with the largest collection of oval-shaped bottle caps in the Northwest United States. How you doing, man?
Wow, I'm doing well. I didn't even know oval bottle caps were a thing. How does that even
I know.
work?
It's what makes your collection so impressive.
That's amazing.
Well,
I
they
thought you
don't
when you
work. That's the thing.
Oh, I see. Okay. When you
Yeah.
started saying so-soist, I thought you were going to say so-hoist, like Soho, the district in New York City, one of my favorite Apple stores. But that's not the case. Have you ever
Yeah,
been to?
that was not a stretch
No,
that
that
I
was
made
not.
there.
No, it's okay. Have you ever been to the Apple stores in New York City?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, oh, very good. You've been to the Glass Cube, the mecca of Apple stores.
Yep, I've been to most of, I think all of them in New York City. The one in Grand Central Terminal is so cool. The way
Yes.
that it doesn't even feel like you're walking into a store. You're just like, you go up some steps and all of a sudden you're inside of an Apple store. You just built right
Yes.
in. It's super cool.
It is very cool. I feel like a lesser brand, not going to mention any names like Microsoft or Samsung, a lesser name, if they had built a store in a literal historic train station, would have like messed it up. Like they would have made it look more like a store. And that one is very cool because you really can't tell. I mean, from a distance, obviously you can see a bunch of like iPads and stuff on the table, but they kept the architecture of the building and it's still like a beautiful structure. So yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. I wanted to give some shout outs to 5-star reviewers. We have 3 international listeners who gave us 5-star reviews recently. Ozzy Art from Australia, which he mentioned in his comment. He loves to listen, but apparently Australia is a bit of a HomeKit desert. He says there's actually not a lot of HomeKit devices available out there. So, I'm pretty sure every HomeKit brand listens to our show. I'm pretty sure. I can't guarantee. But HomeKit, help those guys out in Australia. They're wanting some HomeKit devices. So that was Aussie Art. Chris Z. Bit from Germany. Guten Tag. He's from Germany, gave us 5-star review. And then Nanzerius. Nanzerius? I don't know. Well, he's from India. And so thank you. 3 international 5-star reviews this week. That's pretty cool. I wanted to talk a bit about tvOS 15.4. We got all of our software updates last week as you listen to this. And it included iOS 15.4, universal control, all that kind of stuff. But tvOS got some cool updates, especially for HomeKit specifically. Well, one thing. They got Apple Watch purchase confirmation, which is cool. Captive Wi-Fi networks, where you can connect to like a hotel Wi-Fi network on the Apple TV. I'm very curious how that interface is going to look, because typically it has to like load a web browser or something. So, yeah, I'm curious to try that out. But most of all, it has HomeKit camera picture-in-picture. So when tvOS, you update it to 15.4, you can now select one of your HomeKit cameras on the Apple TV and then put it in picture-in-picture, and it'll persist as you browse around the interface. So you can go in between streaming apps, and it'll just stay down there. You can even play video, and your HomeKit camera will stay down there in that corner. So pretty cool. Did you get a chance to try that out on your Apple TV?
Yeah, I've been running the betas for a while now.
That's right.
It just makes me start to think that like the dev team is stretched really thin. Like, it took this long just to integrate HomeKit cameras with picture-in-picture. And that's a native Apple framework they had. Their Apple. Like, you'd think they would have been able to build that into any of their video players pretty quickly after launching it. And here we are with a 15.4 update and finally got some pip support for HomeKit videos. So
Pip,
I don't know.
pip.
I mean, I'm very glad that it's here. Just I wish some of their feature updates would roll out a little faster.
Yeah, and I forget who's the developer of HomeCam and HomePass and
Aaron
all.
Pierce.
Aaron Pierce. He actually tweeted, he wishes that Apple would open up those kinds of features to developers, because right now a developer cannot use picture-in-picture in their app, which he has an app, HomeCam, which you can get across your devices, including Apple TV. You can get HomeCam there, look at your HomeKit cameras, but he cannot use that picture-in-picture feature. And so that's one of those things where Apple reserves it to their own use, So that was tvOS 15.4. HomePods were also updated, the typical like bug fixes and all that. I didn't know of anything that different. Did you see any differences? 15.4?
No, I don't really remember anything that
Yeah.
I feel unresearched at this moment because I forgot to check what was in 15.4.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't running the betas, and so I updated all mine just last week, but I didn't really notice anything. Siri still struggles to, just struggles. So I don't know. I don't know if there's any big updates there, but anyway, update all your stuff, update your devices, pretty cool. And I'll let you know. I'm gonna try and maybe it's an excuse to like stay at a hotel for a night just because, but I really want to try this captive Wi-Fi network because I have a Google Chromecast. And that's supposed to be able to connect to those captive networks, but it never does. I've taken it to multiple hotels, tried to connect, and it just doesn't really work. So curious to see how Apple's implementation works there. So we'll let you all know. Now you have a iRobot update here, Andrew. What's going on with iRobot, the makers of Roomba?
I am so excited about this, man. They are adding Wi-Fi, I'm reading my notes on everything else here. They're adding Siri support to the iRobot line, the Roomba line, which is huge because, I've been testing, products from like Ecovacs and Roborock that already have Siri support, and iRobot and the Roombas didn't. Mm-hmm. So this is a huge update. You'll now be able to include iRobot products, Roomba products inside of your Siri shortcuts. You can control them via Siri. You can tell them to clean a specific room. All of that stuff with this newfound Siri support.
That's cool. So it is not exactly HomeKit just yet. We're just talking about Siri and Siri shortcuts, correct?
Yes, but you can build your Siri shortcuts into your HomeKit scenes, so you can run a HomeKit scene that will, automatically do that. Like as long with other things, you can run it off of an NFC tag if you want to put one somewhere and just tap it with your phone and run a shortcut that way. But yeah, you can automate this alongside of your HomeKit accessories now because Apple doesn't have a robot, category to HomeKit.
Right. Well, very cool. So good on Roomba. Now that Roborock, we had talked about it a couple of weeks ago. Jennifer Toohey, I think, actually has a review of it on The Verge. Was that one? That one's not HomeKit either then. I guess it's just smart, right?
Well, none of them are HomeKit because
right.
HomeKit doesn't have the
vacuums.
But it does just work with Siri and shortcuts.
Gotcha. Right. Okay. Well, Apple. So this is on Apple. WWDC, add vacuums to the HomeKit category and some smart mops.
Matter.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Andrew. I'm glad you just mentioned that as an aside because we are now almost a quarter of the way through 2022. We are nearing the end of March here. And we've passed the Ides of March. We've passed St. Patty's Day. We've passed Daylight Saving. And now, I have not heard about Matter very often. I have not heard a whisper or a peep. I've not heard a whisper in the wind. I don't, what's Matter? What's going on? Anybody know?
No little mouse whispered in your ear?
No. My feeling about Matter is only being solidified in that I'll believe it when I see it because I just, I don't know. I feel like everybody stopped talking about it after CES. It was like, where'd it go? Right?
I don't know. That seems par for the course. I mean, that's how things work. Is you hype everything up at CES and then it goes silent until you're ready for your next announcement. And I don't think Matter was expected in the first quarter of the year. This was like second half of the year is what I understood Matter to be launching. So I don't think they've fallen behind anything other than their other miss dates. But as far as I know, they're still on track for later in 2022 here.
So I just did a little search for Matter here in the Google and went over to the news tab, filtering by most recent. And basically, there's a bunch of websites putting out like what is Matter explained right now, which let's just say we were like a year ahead on this because I'm pretty sure we talked about this like a year ago. So yeah, pretty good. I feel pretty good about our coverage of Matter on that. But yeah, nothing really about anything except for what Matter is. So, no, I'm just saying. I'm just putting that out there. Okay. Going to the next piece of news. Matter interlude. Aqara has a new smart thermostat. It is the S3. Now, this is a super cool thermostat, but it is in mainland China only right now. Has a big 4-inch display. So this is like very futuristic looking. I feel like Aqara is really positioning themselves as the like future tech like looking design, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know, futuristic, futuristic type stuff. They got their super lock, very futuristic lock with all the features. And now this thermostat, it's like, whoa, this thing looks cool. I feel like your decor has to really, match this kind of future aesthetic. It's very like it's flat side. It's basically what the Apple Watch Series 7 was supposed to be. This is what John Prosser basically predicted. I think he got a picture of this and he thought it was a watch. I think that's what happened. But,
just larger.
It is very, very much larger. It would be a 4-inch watch. But, flat sides, harsh corners, like no roundedness at all on this thermostat, which is a cool look. This big screen looks like beautifully designed. But yeah, very futuristic. What do you think about this thing?
My always thought, I'm trying not to be a naysayer about this stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
But my always thought, whenever I see a large screen, is in photos or media pictures, they never look exactly how they're going to be in real life. Like, you don't see the pixels like you might in real life. You don't see the glare.
Right.
Or even like the Ecobee, which I love. Like, the screen actually sits back behind like that touch screen, so it's actually recessed a little bit. So it's all that smooth front, but the screen is like a little bit back. So from angles, you'll see like the depth of it, and you just don't see those things in the promo images. So this thing, honestly, it looks gorgeous. It looks so nice. I actually really like the look of it because it's super, super vibrant colors and very modern looking. But I'm like, okay, how's it gonna look like that? Are we gonna get hit with glare from every angle? Are those colors gonna be a little more washed out than they look in those pictures? Because it's not supporting HD. HDR, P3 wide color gamut to get some super vivid picture like colors on here, and that kind of stuff. And the pixel density, they're not going to put some massively high pixel resolution screen in there. So what is it actually going to look like in real life?
Sure.
Those are always my thoughts. I had the same thoughts with the Brilliant one when I put those panels in, and Brilliant does have a little bit of a matte finish. A matte film to the actual screen itself, and it was a higher resolution screen than I actually anticipated that it would be. So I was happy with how those turned out, but this looks all glossy and smooth, so
okay, interesting.
It's hard to judge until you actually see it in your home.
Yeah, and this is one of the things where Aqara has now released multiple products only in mainland China and not really announced anything, if it's coming to the US or not. So hopefully they get back to moving those products, over here to the States and to Europe. That would be nice, because it'd be nice to have other options. Again, like thermostat wise for the new house, it was kind of like Ecobee. Ecobee. Like, Ecobee is kind of like the one really good option for HomeKit thermostat. So yeah, bring them over here, Aqara. Bring this thermostat, bring that crazy lock you have, bring it all over. All right, now Brittany Vincent, writer at Apple Insider, she had a roundup of AirPlay speakers listing some of the best. It's, kind of a short list. You have Sonos, you have Apple speakers, you have Bose, and if you want to go to that high end, you have like the Name, like the super high end luxury speaker, we'll call it. But it's a cool roundup. Will she be adding to this as we go? Do you know?
I don't think so. I think this is just like a one-off, and then she might be doing like more specific ones down the line. Cool. But I think they're very specific in what they do. Yeah. I like this. So let's see. Sonos for best Sonos 1, sure. The only one from Apple. You got HomePod Mini hanging out there. She's got the Sonos Arc.
Yep.
If you want a soundbar for your TV, Parable one.
The Bose.
She's got the Bose. Okay, which one is that? 300 home speaker. Nope, that's over 300 speakers. Not what I was looking for.
It's the Bose 300.
It's the Bose 300.
Yeah.
Okay. I just read Bose 300 home speakers together. I'm like, that's a lot of speakers to put together.
That's a lot of pairs. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of pairs. And then the best portable AirPlay is the Sonos Roam.
That's right.
And the premium, the Muso Cube V2. I do love me some the Muso ones. And the only other one that I would add to this is the Move. Like, she has the Roam for the portable. I like it depends on your purpose. I like the Move better because it is bigger. It has the handle. It's not going to fit in the water bottle holder on your backpack. But if you're just going around your house to the beach, anywhere else like that, it's super easy to carry, even though it's bigger and heavier. I like the Move a lot.
Cool. Well, yeah, this is a cool roundup, though. I didn't even know that Bose speaker was a thing. I didn't even know that was an AirPlay speaker. So, very cool. And I'll be getting some Sonos in the new house. Be letting everybody know how I think those sound. So, very cool. Put a link in show notes to that AirPlay speaker roundup. And we also, now you did this one to do the HomeKit Apple HomeKey. I don't know why this is so difficult to say. It's an Apple HomeKey, a HomeKit lock roundup. Piece of cake. So, yeah, nailed it. You put together all the HomeKey locks, which is a grand total of 2 right now, 1 in the U.S. But,
correct.
Yeah, I imagine you'll be adding to these if any more come out.
Yeah, so this one, we basically, now that there was a second one announced with the Aqara A100, we started just to put them into one list.
Right.
So we will have like a go-to list of HomeKey locks that you guys can check out as new ones are announced. Right now, literally 0 are available, so you can't even try it. Nothing.
Is this Lodge not?
Yeah.
You can't buy it?
No.
Oh.
No, it still says coming soon, sign up information.
Oh, no. For some reason, I thought this thing was available, that you could get it. I'm not on their website. It is not. Oh, my goodness. I do have to say, on the Schleg website, they have a picture of a woman unlocking the thing with her Apple Watch, which is what you should be able to do with HomeKey, which is cool. But the contorting that she is having to do to get her wrist by that lock, she's like holding a bag of groceries
on her head.
Like she's doing like this, like holding a bag of groceries and like
it's just to cheat the camera, because you can just put your arm any which way and it's fine, but it won't look good to camera.
Right. She's doing like this like bicep curl pose. I guess you're right. It was for the camera, but yeah, just it seems like the most awkward way to scan your watch on this lock. But well, anyway, this is troubling now because I'm in a position, which I'm going to talk about in a moment, of having to buy certain things for the home because we're like a month and a couple weeks away, and light switches are getting installed and like other things are getting installed, so I need to get this stuff. So I didn't realize I didn't have this as an option. Well, level lock it is. I mean, that kind of makes the decision for me. So yeah, it says coming this spring. Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it, Matter. But anyway, sorry. Just still bitter about Matter. Anyway, well, cool. We'll put a link to that article. Return to it to see HomeKey locks as they are released this year. Hopefully we'll see more.
Also, by the way, did you know that HomeKey is 2 words?
HomeKey is 2 words. I don't know if I knew that. Apple always puts that stuff together.
Nope, neither did I. Yeah, Apple always puts that stuff together. Yeah. But no, not with HomeKey. For some reason, I wrote the whole article with HomeKey as a single word, and then I was like, I saw somewhere else, or on like one of the product pages, like they spaced out, like idiots spacing out the words, dummies. And then I just Googled like Apple PR on it, and like they had spaced it, and I'm like,
huh? Do they even capitalize it? It looks like I did a listeners. If you don't know, you could do this. When you go to Google, you do a search term, and then you do site SITE : and then apple.com, and Google will search just apple.com for those keywords. And so all results that you see in Google will be from Apple's website. You can do that with any website. You could do HomeKey site : appleinsider.com, and you'll get results just from Apple Insider. Just a little Google trick there for you. You can also do Boolean search things. But anyway, so I did a HomeKey search result for apple.com, and it's all like lowercase and 2 words. I didn't realize that was a thing.
Yeah, it's super weird. So when I referenced it, I tried to do like support for HomeKey as capital 2 words, but anytime I'm referencing to like your own personal home key, kept them lowercase, which is a super annoying distinction as you're trying to write. Yeah, so there's fun fact of
There
the
you go.
day.
Well, and it's funny too because HomeKit obviously is one word. Car key appears to be one word, which is also Apple's car thing. Uh,
You would think those would be the same.
Come on, naming convention. Now, wait a minute. I did a search for car key from apple.com. It looks like that's separated too. It's separated in lowercase, just saying.
Man, see, they don't make things easy.
No,
This
because
is
CarPlay,
obnoxious.
all one word. Capital C, capital P, AirPlay. Yep.
We could start naming all of the things that Apple has smushed to one
Yeah.
word and be annoyed.
Now my brain is blank
one.
though because you said that, and so now I can't think of anything. So anyway, all right. Well, you got a couple reviews we want to talk about. I want to talk about the many switches I purchased literally last night as we record for the new house because those are getting installed. But before we talk about them, we do have a sponsor today, our friends at Nebia. Guys, you have heard us talk about Nebia's incredible showers before. Nebia was founded... I was trying to leave a break there so I didn't have to use filler words, but then I just went totally blank. It was just a complete blank. So what I meant to say was one of Nebia's first investors was none other than Apple CEO Tim Cook, and you have former Tesla, NASA, and Apple engineers working on the Nebia showers. And the great thing is when you use a Nebia shower, it actually uses 45% less water. So it's eco-friendly, and you actually get a better shower experience. My favorite is actually the Nebia by Moen Spa Shower because it is height adjustable. So my kids can lower it, then we can raise it, and you can get that magic wand attachment. It attaches with this cool little magnetic dome on the side of the shower. Very cool. You just take it on or off. And I know it might sound like, oh, I got to change out my shower head. That's intimidating. Let me tell you, I had never changed out a shower head before in my life. But it only took me about 15 minutes to change out to the Nebia by Moen Spa Shower and the Quattro. Just 15 minutes. They give you all the parts, all the instructions, and then you get a great shower experience. It atomizes the water, has different settings. I love the Quattro. You can have high pressure and different kind of rain shower settings. And my family actually loves the shower heads too. Quattro is also cool because it comes off the head, and so you can use it as a wand, and you just put it back, and it's kind of an all-in-one deal. And so we really love it. Comes in 4 finishes. I know, Andrew, you love the atmosphere that it provides. The atmosphere of the, what do you call it? I'm going to do these jazz hands. What would you say?
The atomized water.
Oh, the warmth, the thermal comfort.
The warmth? Okay.
Yeah, I know you've talked about how...
Couldn't tell what this was.
This is a...
This looked like water coming down.
It is water coming down and also thermal comfort. They actually... I remember they said that word, but you have said before, it makes the whole shower nice and warm for you, so you don't have those cold spots. So, very cool. Well, it comes in 4 finishes: white and chrome, spot resistant nickel, matte black, black and chrome. They also have other accessories like the shower shelf. You actually have the quick dry earth mat. I've actually wanted to try that. I might pick that up. So they have all their accessories. Try it today. You will not regret it. Save water and upgrade your shower experience. The Nebia by Moen Spa Shower starts at just $199. And for you, HomeKit listener and viewer, youtube.com/HomeKit Insider, just saying, we have a deal for you. Nebia.com/HomeKit. Use the promo code HomeKit at checkout to get 10% off all Nebia products. Nebia has partnered with us for a long time. They rarely do sales with others, but they've been a partner with us for a long time. So this is a great deal to jump on. So again, Nebia.com/HomeKit, Nebia.com/HomeKit. Check out what they have to offer and save 10% with promo code HomeKit. HomeKit. Now, I was jealous because you have a Wemo Smart Plug with thread. And last night I had to buy Wemo switches without thread. But we'll get to that in a second. So tell me, we got a smart plug. It's a smart plug, but it's got thread. How did it go? How goes it?
It works exactly as you would think. Basically, it's still the same exact design as Wemo's current HomeKit smart plug, but now it's been updated to support thread. That's pretty much it. So anything you do with a regular smart plug, you can do with the new thread-enabled version. It has NFC pairing, so you don't even have to scan the pairing code. You just bring your iPhone near it, and boom, it'll be set up nice and easy. Though I will say, I think I got a pre-release version, which the NFC pairing did not work for me. Same with the doorbell when I had originally set it up, but I know once the doorbell launch, and whether it's through a firmware update or just a full production version or something, that worked for everyone else. So it's just me being weird with my early version here. But one of my favorite things about this, other than Thread, is the fact that it is fully supported by the Home app, and you can even do the firmware updates through the Home app. Manually install your firmware updates through the Home app whenever you want to. This is a thing that I want to see more manufacturers doing, and a lot of them aren't. So I'm glad that Belkin is kind of like on the forefront of this, and I hope that it's a thing. Like, we can talk about it now with Belkin doing it, which I feel like is motivation for us to yell at other manufacturers for not doing it.
Yes,
you know what I mean? Like, if no one else did it, then it's just like yelling into the void. But like, now we're like, look, they're doing it, you should do it too.
Yes.
Because it's a really handy thing. You don't have to have, there's no Wemo app. You don't have to download a Wemo app even for firmware updates. So it's just everything through the Home app, which is great. I saw a few people asking what kind of Thread support does it offer, and it does act as a router, not a border router. That's going to be your HomePod Mini, your Nanoleaf gear. This will just be a router, which means it can extend your Thread mesh network. It's not an endpoint, which is nice, because even if you don't have like any other need for this by itself, like, it's the benefit is you can extend that Thread network further. And I think the more Thread devices you have, the more robust your Thread network is going to be. Should something go offline or devices need to take like the path of least resistance in communicating, it's just another point in that mesh network. So I'm pretty excited about that. But yeah, otherwise it's a standard spark plug. It works great. It's ridiculously fast, like real fast. It's probably one of the fastest, if not the fastest, smart plug that I've tried. So that's always
that's very cool. Yeah, it's nice. I have a couple Wemo plugs. I'm looking at them right now, non-thread, but
you're just judging them. You're like, look at you,
just sitting there,
stupid Bluetooth connecting.
Get out of here. Get out of here. Anyway,
don't love you anymore.
I don't. I want all thread. But anyway, you want me to talk about the light switches I got, or you want to talk about the Eve water guard?
We can hit the Eve water guard real quick, because again, there's not really anything new in terms of hardware changes other than the adoption of Thread. So Eve did announce a new version of the Eve water guard. Yep, it comes with Thread support now, just like Eve is doing really to the rest of its entire lineup. It's a white block that plugs into your outlet. Then you've got a 2-meter cord, I want to say, that connects in. That's going to be your sensing cable, and should water touch that, it'll trip the alarm. You're going to get an alert through HomeKit on the Home app on all of your devices that there's been water detected, and you'll also see a red light come on the thing. I believe it makes a noise too. So it'll do all this stuff when water is detected, hopefully preventing you from costly repairs, because you caught the water before it damaged everything. And I know we've talked about this in the show, but I've had experience with this, and like, I know my grandma actually had this, where she had a leak underneath her kitchen sink, and it dripped through. It went through the bottom boards of her kitchen sink to the the flooring below, the subflooring below the kitchen sink, which then dripped through the ceiling and then started eventually coming through the drywall. And it's at that point that she ever noticed this, and it was a very costly repair to do all of that. And it could have been prevented had she had an Eve water guard under that sink, letting her know the first time that she had some water dripping down there. So just saying, these things are not super cheap, but they can definitely save you a lot of money on repairs. So it's almost like insurance. You're like buying insurance, and no one is excited that they have to buy insurance, but it can also save you. So I'm at this point scared now that I actually own a house that something is going to happen to it. I'm afraid to put a nail hole in the wall to hang things. So yeah, I'm scared that we're going to get some massive amount of water damage, and it's going to be expensive and not fun. So I have many water sensors throughout the house, and this being another Thread one, that just helps. With Thread on this guy, it's useful because Thread can help extend that network. And with a water sensor, it's not always in like the best location. Like you're sometimes going to be like in a basement or a remote part of the house that you're not going to necessarily get good Wi-Fi coverage, let alone Bluetooth to a home hub. So with Thread, you're able to extend that down. So in our basement, well, we have plenty of Wi-Fi coverage in our house with like multiple Wi-Fi 6 mesh routers, but we do like a bunch of Thread-enabled nanoleaf bulbs down here. So it's able to kind of extend stuff around. And it all works out very well that no matter where this thing goes, it has a strong Thread signal. And it does act as a border router, so it extends your network that way too.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, I'll be getting some. That is one nice thing about, having built the house. I have pictures of everything that is inside the wall, like before the drywall went up. And so I'll be referring to those when I like put stuff on the wall or like nail things, because I can know where all the pipes are. But water damage is, as a homeowner, like kryptonite, because it just ruins so many things. Hopes and dreams, just ruins them all. So yeah, Eve WaterGuard, very cool. All right, well, I had an experience last night because I was informed that I need to get all the light switches for the house, like now. I had to get them right now because the electrician is going to install them all next week. And for them to deliver on time and everything, I had to order them ASAP. So I was then forced to, I couldn't wait any longer for the Wemo Thread dimmer switch. I couldn't wait for any new releases. I needed to get switches now. Now, a couple challenges that I did not foresee is three-way switches, and there are several switches that work with the three-way setup. We also have some four-way switches, and if you're not sure what that is, a three-way switch, I feel like the naming convention is not good, because a three-way switch is two physical switches that control the same light. And so it's like if you have a stairwell, you can have a switch at the bottom and a switch at the top that both turn on or off the light, and that is called a three-way switch. You can also have four-way switches, which is the same idea, but it's three physical switches controlling the same light. I don't know why they're not called two and three-way, but they're called three and four-way. I don't know if it's crazy making. But anyway, so I had multiple three-way situations that I needed to support. In addition, we have several ceiling fans, and I was going to go with Hunter Douglas ceiling fans. I may still upgrade to those in the future, but the switches have already been installed for the fans. I didn't realize, like, the ship had kind of already sailed on that, and I'm not sure. And let me ask you this, Andrew, with your smart ceiling fans, is there also a switch that controls them? And if so, what do you do with that switch?
Like you say, like the ship has sailed on them. Other than the fact that it was just like a $5 switch was put in the wall.
Well, there's not been any switch put in the wall, and so I had the choice of, do I put a smart switch to control the fan, or do I put a dumb switch with a Hunter Douglas HomeKit fan? But like, what is your smart fan setup? I assume is a dumb switch smart fan?
So it is, yeah, it's basically a dumb switch. Well, I have a few different setups, but the one for using like the Hunter Douglas ceiling fans, basically just capped off the ends. So you take off the outlet, put them together, so it's fully connected, so it's on all the time, and then you just put a solid plate over top of it just to, cover the hole, hang a picture there, whatever, depends on where it is.
Very low picture.
But yeah, there was no point in for that. So I just basically covered it like always on, so that way you don't have a problem with someone hitting the switch because you don't really ever need it. The other option is to cap it off behind there and then put some other control over top of it. Like a lot of them you can mount into place. You could also use ones like the Brilliant panels where you can even say like, oh, this is a smart product. It'll keep it on all the time, but you can still use the physical switch on the wall to control it, and it just sends that command for you and turns it on. So there's ways to get around things like that.
Right.
With the Hunter Douglas ceiling fans, we had issues with those because it did not like our Wi-Fi. The only product that I ever had that had that Wi-Fi issue where it just would not connect, and then it was like, oh, it's on the 2.4 versus the 5, and I tried with like multiple routers, and then Hunter Douglas told me, oh, well, you need to split your network. I'm like, I'm not doing that. This is the only smart home product that can't figure out how to join the 2.4 versus the 5 gigahertz. This is on you. And the only thing they would say was like, you just need to split your network into the two separate bands. I'm like, no. I'm not doing that. No. So, yeah, those don't really work for us very well,
Okay.
to be honest. They, because of that,
Okay.
because they would often not show up. They would not respond in the home app because they would be stuck on some different. They couldn't connect to the correct Wi-Fi.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that I guess went the route I did, which was I just got smart switches to control the light and the fan, and I'm gonna go with some dumb fans for right now. So, yeah.
See, well, I mean, this is your choice what you want to do. The problem with doing the switches is
Yeah,
they
you don't
only have the on and off, which works,
Yeah.
but they don't have the fan control, and that drives me crazy. So like but then if you have something like the Lutron, I would probably go with the Lutron. That's what I do have in one of my rooms, and that's what I prefer. But if you have the lights on there, it's like a separate
Yeah.
thing you have to worry about because the Lutron will only control the fan, not the lights. So you can do Hue bulbs or other smart bulbs combined with the Lutron one. That is an option. That's probably what I would do, and what I do have in at least the one room of the house. The lights are
Right.
perpetually on. They're connected to a Lutron to control that way. But that's like the easiest way. Then you have full HomeKit control over everything. It's still only one.
So I was close to doing that Lutron fan control switch, but a big factor as I was adding up all these switches was cost. Like I bought like 40 plus switches yesterday, and it got expensive very quickly. And so it very quickly got to the point where I was like, okay, I need the most economical options that are still smart and like don't put a more expensive switch than I need. So what I ended up doing for all my dimmers, I did there was just one single dimmer switch to control the lights, not a three-way. I did go with the Wemo dimmer switch because it was actually one of the most inexpensive dimmers you could get. It's like $35 right now on Amazon. So I'll put a link to that one. Whenever I had a 3 or 4-way switch, I did some research. This is just a recommendation for you, Andrew, if you want to write this. But when you search for HomeKit 3-way switches, there are not a lot of articles that come out. There's like 2 or 3, and those were the only ones I could refer to. So after looking at those, and Lutron, you can do 3-way. Wemo, you can kind of do 3-way, but they're a little more like you're basically just putting a smart switch on both ends, and it's not really like made specifically to be a 3-way deal. What I did find was the Leviton. Leviton makes a specific 3-way switch where you buy a smart switch, and then they actually make like remotes for the other locations of the 3 and 4-way switch that are cheaper than the main switch, which helped when having to buy multiple. And so for the 3-way switches, I did that. The Leviton main switch and then the Leviton remotes. I'll put links to both of those. And again, these all don't require a hub. I loved my Lutron lights. They were so reliable. I hope I do not regret it. But also, the Lutron ones are kind of pricey, especially when you have to buy a lot of them. Like even just their standard dimmer switch and just their on-off switch, it's like $50 or $60. And the Leviton main switch is also about $50, but their remote switches for 3 and 4 ways is like 20 something. So when I'm having to get multiple, it was helping economically. So for 3-way switches and the dimmer, it's the Leviton dimmer and 3-way. I got the Leviton. I got Wemo for standalone dimmers. And then I had the decision to make about the several switches that are just on-off, many of them just controlling the fan light, and fan. I needed an on-off switch for both of those. Yes.
I'm a fan.
Looking for the most economical option. I've had mixed feelings about this brand, and we've had listeners reach out saying, maybe they're okay, maybe not. The most inexpensive straight on-off switch I could find was the Maris. The Maris light switch on-off non-dimmer switch. It's like $20. I can do them now because I have neutral wires everywhere. It's a new home, construction, so I can try the Maris. So we will see. I got a bunch of Maris switches for basically all the fan controls that are just on-off, And, my Maris garage door opener that I've had at this house at our location for a while has been pretty good. The garage door opener, like after you get through the setup, which I will report back copious notes of how the setup goes for all these different light switches. But my Maris garage door opener has been pretty reliable. It's not really disconnected. They had several firmware updates, so I'm hoping that these switches are as reliable. Of course, none of these have thread. They're all pretty much Wi-Fi switches. So again, we'll have to see. But that's what I went with. As switches come out, maybe with thread over the next year, maybe I'll switch some of them out, pun intended, for better or thread versions. But that is what I went with. And again, economics and cost was one of the biggest deciding factors. So, Andrew, how do you think I did? How did I do on those decisions? Yeah.
So I have a couple questions. Okay. First, your 3 and 4 ways. Can you describe like the setups? Like, so like the remotes, are you just gonna like take out the outlet that's there and just put the remotes in? Like how, or do you already have boxes, or you just like have a single light switch that you want to turn into a 3-way or 4-way?
All of the switches right now, like everything is just the box in the wall. And so you either have like 1, 2, or 3 gang boxes, and it's just the cables. Like that's all that's there right now. And for the remotes, maybe I shouldn't have used the word remote, but the Leviton, it's a companion switch for multi-location control, and it is a hardwired switch. It is not like a Pico remote. It is actually a hardwired switch that you would connect as if it were a physical 3-way switch, but it gets paired with the main Leviton switch. And so, again, I'll put it in the show notes. It's the Leviton Decora companion switch for multi-location control. And again, it is a hardwired thing, not a like Pico remote like Lutron has, where it's just like a wireless control basically that goes on the plate. Oh, Andrew now has a box here. He's going to reveal something. Dramatic drum roll.
So this is what they look like. They go in the wall. No wires.
Right, that's not what I got.
Unless you have... Okay, because this is their companion switches. The remote companion.
I shouldn't have said remote, because they are not the remote companion. These are... I will send you the screenshot from Amazon in the Slack. This is what I got. It is the companion switch.
Okay, so here's basically the question that I'm trying to get to is why do you need if you already have the wired box, right? Why don't you just put a regular switch in there? Because on a 3-way or 4-way setup, each one doesn't need to be a smart switch. Like I have my hallway, which is a 3-way, and one of them is a HomeKit light switch. The other is your dumb light switch, the standard one that just came in the house. I don't have it cost you a couple of dollars. And that one will control the hallway and it will react to the other one. You don't need multiple smart ones in a 3-way or 4-way setup.
That's a good point. So I guess so even if you have like a dumb dimmer switch on the 3-way locations, that would... Like, will the smart switch still read, like, the dimness setting?
It should. If it can read on and off, I don't see why it wouldn't. I mean, we have a dimmer. Our smart one is a dimmer, and our other one is a dumb standard switch, not a dimmer. And I can dim it on the HomeKit one, and when I turn it back on the regular one, it does come on at, like, the 50% or whatever my last brightness was. If I had replaced that with a dimmer, I assume it would... come on at the correct brightness. But yeah, I mean, I that's what I was confused with this was. So the companion that Leviton sells here, that I have, you sent just a picture, so I didn't see the listing. I assume maybe it's just a wired version that doesn't rely on battery. But so this guy, it really, you can actually put it into a standard wall plate
control
and replace like the switch, and it'll work like that. But it can also be mounted with an adhesive. so you can just add a three-way light switch to any room if you have the Leviton in the other one. So that's what I was trying to figure. I'm like, okay, going with the Leviton, these just add anywhere. If you already have the hardware boxes, the wires in, I thought you could just put in any other dumb switch you want.
Okay.
Companion switch multi. So I think this is like, I mean, this does look just like that's just a normal standard three-way switch, I think. Because Decora is just like the faceplate stuff. This doesn't say anything about smart. So
it says
I think
must
that's
be
just
used
a
in
regular
conjunction
switch, right?
with a Decora Smart or Decora Digital switch. And as far as what I could read, it's like it pairs with another, like the main Leviton switch. Because it is like Wi-Fi. And yeah, because there's a Q&A lower and it says, can it be used as a standalone switch? And the answer is no. This is a companion device intended for three-way, must be used with Leviton's Decora Smart or Decora Digital primary switches, dimmers, or fan speed controls. So, like, I think you pair this in the app with whatever switch it's supposed to be controlling. Does it make sense? Ish?
Honestly, no. Because like even like in an app, like why do you need to see both switches? Because that would just be confusing. You have two switches for the same room.
You
or
might
the
not
same
see
light,
it like in the app for control, but that it would be paired, kind of like how you would group like Hue bulbs. Like if you had 3 Hue bulbs, you want to put them in one group. I assumed it worked like that, but well, you might save me some money if I just get some dumb switches, because I guess you're right. Like if you turn the lights off from a dumb three-way switch, the smart switch should be smart enough to understand that. I don't know. Man, I'm concerned now.
I mean, I
have it set up with a
Wemo
Wemo dimmer?
my house, so
I
know it works.
Okay, but it should be the same.
Not a Wemo one.
Should be the same. Okay, I have to talk to the electrician. Okay, yeah. So,
yeah, I would. Double check that, because I was confused at what the heck that Leviton is, like why it needs to exist, like why you can't just use a regular switch. I could see Leviton just selling a dumb switch that you can pair with it, and even in like their product description stuff, it's very vague and it doesn't really say anything. It says like how the Decora Smart line has like the Wi-Fi and like to companion with it, but it's kind of vague about how this one works and operates and why it needs to be smart versus a dumb one to pair with. So I don't know. I honestly don't know what's going on there.
Well, I'll just say maybe you save me some money, and I'll have to see if I can cancel these items real quick. But yeah, I guess it makes sense. You just have some dumb switches. But anyway, I bought 8 of them. Let's see if I can cancel those.
So what I was wondering, my thing, and this is not a criticism, but I know in my house, like what I basically said, like next time I do something, like a new house or something, I am done with the multiple brands of switches, because every single like room has a different type of a switch, and it's obnoxious. Is this the one I'm supposed to slap? You know, like a touch surface? Is it a paddle surface? Is it a standard rocker switch that goes up and down? Or is it the freaking Hue one that has like the dial from Lutron where you poke it and do that stuff? And it's really annoying because and the brilliant ones where it's a 2-finger swipe up and down to turn all the lights in that room on or off. But it ends up with just a bunch of different like methods for controlling lights, even just different rockers. You kind of hit them differently, and whenever I walk into a room, I go to hit the switch. Sometimes I hit it the wrong way, and like my wife is notorious for throwing her hand up and just sending that Lutron aura thing flying through the air as she tries to turn on the lights in our bedroom. Still, just because that's how like half our switches are. So like it's frustrating enough that I was like, I'm tired of this. If I was doing this again, if I was doing a new house, a new build, I would 1,000,000% do all of the same switches, no matter the cost, just because it's so obnoxious. Or at least on main rooms, like bedrooms, hallways, kitchen, living room, stuff like that. Maybe not like closets and basements I'd get away with switching, but the main stuff that I feel
Yeah,
like
I would have
need them to
loved
be the
that.
same.
I mean, my goal was to do the Wemo switches everywhere. And part of it was the three-way confusion, which I guess I might just be able to do the Wemo switch and the dumb switch for the three-way. Because the Wemo switch does say it is three-way capable. I just didn't understand why. But it's also pretty expensive. So I don't know. I'll have to think about it. The other thing was the Maris for all the ceiling fan controls. Like that was a lot of switches for those. And for the $20, like there was just no other switch in that price range. Like it just wasn't comparable. So over time, I would love to get there again. And we'll see about reliability. Cause like that's the biggest thing. If these things like the Maris ones are not reliable, like I'm gonna have to switch those out pretty quick because that's going to be really annoying. So yeah.
Which you should find out just during setup.
Yeah,
Like,
and so that's the last thing I'll say about
fumbles
setup.
along the way.
The electrician is installing all these switches, but the Wi-Fi network, and I don't think even power is at the house just yet. So I can't like pair these as they are installed. And once they're in the wall, I'm not going to see the little HomeKit thing. So, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I can tell
Yes.
you, this is going to be hell.
Yes. Thank you.
It will be
Thank you.
terrible. You will regret.
Are you trying to make me feel better right now? Like I don't understand what's happening.
Because
Not at all. Okay.
No. I did this with my studio. Is we put in a bunch of built-in smart wall outlets and smart switches and all stuff like that. And you know, the electrician installed everything, and then I go to pair them, and like 10 show up all in the app at the same time, and there's no way to like differentiate them. So I was going around scanning HomeKit pairing codes, trying to like find the corresponding switches, and some of them have like the identify thing, which can sometimes help, but I don't even remember if that's shown during that setup process now. And it'll just be like, in my case, it was like iDevices, like iDevices EC912, EC3552, and you have no idea which one's which. And that was with like 10. And it took me like hours to try to like figure out which one was which and like reset. And then I had to reset them a bunch of times because they like failed during the pairing process. Or like power come on and they wouldn't set them up right away. So then they would just like kind of default or something, and then I'd have to reset them to get them into the proper stuff. So I honestly don't know like what your solution is, but it is a super
Thank
pain
you.
in the butt.
Yes, I am hoping I'm going to use HomePass again, another app from Aaron Pierce, and I'm going to try to copiously put every device in HomePass with its HomeKit code that hopefully will somehow help the process. Probably not be ideal, but it will help, hopefully. But I'll now have to go through my Amazon order before they ship and cancel a bunch of things. So I'm going to go do that. And I think you're right. Like on the Wemo Switch Amazon thing, it does say three-way control only requires one smart switch per three-way circuit. And so, yeah, I think I'm going to do that. Now, the dimmer does not say three-way. So, I don't know. I guess I'll have to do some more research in the next 10 minutes and buy it while I drive. No, just kidding. I'm not going to do that. But, yeah, I need to figure this out. Okay, well, this conversation helped. And I will let our listeners know follow-up next week. I'll take a picture with all these light switches on a table, like Godfather style. And, you know, I'll show you all what I got. And, yeah, we'll see how it goes. They're being installed before we record our next episode, so I'll be able to describe how that went also. And, man, I just want to make the right decision. This is tough. Cool. This is really tough. So, anyway, yeah. Thank you, Andrew, for that. I'm going to... I'll let everybody know what happens. Anyway, links to everything we talked about, including all the switches that I may or may not have bought. I will confirm next week what I cancel. And yeah, subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'll show some of the switch, or at least the boxes, because the switches will be in the house. But I'll show the boxes next week. YouTube.com/HomeKit Insider. Keep the 5-star ratings and reviews coming. And yeah, thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. Our Twitter handle's in the show notes. Reach out to us. Let us know what projects you got going on. And yeah, see you guys next time.